Hello everybody. Today I am going to take you into the Minneapolis Farmers Market and see what they've got, and then later I'll do an update on my tomatoes and peppers. It's right over there. Alright, coming up to the Minneapolis Farmers Market. There's apparently some gunshots. I'm just kidding. Very interesting place. I'll show you some highlights. That before. A lot of crafts here. But this isn't what I wanted to show you. They've usually got a lot of good produce here, locally grown. And so that's what I'll be getting to next. Here we got fresh corn tortillas, and in keeping in line with the pepper videos, ghost pepper plants. You can't find those in a local nursery.
There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hot sauce fanatics. Here we have some produce. This place is great and very reasonable too. All kinds of good stuff in here. A lot of stuff here you can't get in the supermarket.
Any two trays for $5. Two trays for $5.
Okay, you can get one more for $5. That's already $4. 1 kilo, you can do one.
Let's see if I can find some peppers and tomatoes in this batch. Look at here, they got purple potatoes. These potatoes are a really popular item around here. And they're really good too. Some beautiful onions down here. Looks like some basil over here. $3 each tray. These zucchinis look gorgeous. $2 a tray. Hi. Very busy place today. you can get a very heavy bag full of produce for under $20 here. I don't think I've ever spent more than $20 here, and I've left with a huge bag full. It's really exciting. And once I'm done shooting this video, I'm going to be buying some stuff.
Oops, sorry.
Oh, no problem. Jalapenos. Oh, check these out.
So, you know, you can kind of put a variety on there so you can try the varieties.
These are enormous.
And then you can kind of figure out which ones you like better, like the yellow ones. Yep. They're a little bit more lower in acid. So, and then these are actually really good.
Hello.
Steve had this yesterday. This is a new one for us this year. Sweeter.
Just walking around here.
Is it different than the white one? It's a little bland. Okay.
I know. I'm shooting video right now. I'll meet you in about 2 minutes, all right?
Unless we see him somewhere else.
I'm thinking I'm going to be picking up some of these heirlooms.
$5.
Nice looking Romas here. These things are huge. And they're gorgeous. Well, the popular item seems to be potatoes, zucchini, some tomatoes. I haven't seen hardly any peppers. Some corn. It's still pretty early in the season for corn. $7 a dozen, yeah. This section over here isn't as reasonable as the other sections. Well, this concludes my little tour of the Minneapolis Farmers Market. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for an update on my peppers and tomatoes.
Uh-oh, YouTube tape.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. So this is what I picked up today at the farmer's market. I got some zucchini, some potatoes, bee-sized potatoes. They had a lot of different kinds of potatoes. Some basil and flat leaf parsley, which I'm going to be drying in my food dehydrator today. 3 kinds of beans and 2 nice heads of cauliflower and some nice tomatoes. We've already eaten 2 of them. We had BLTs just a little bit ago. And these are beets. I'm trying to remember what the heck they were called. Beets. I don't really like beets. My wife does. But yeah, all this for $17, which I think is pretty good. So I'm getting ready to clean it up and store it so we can use it whenever we want. But I just thought I'd let you in on some of the things I found there at the Minneapolis Farmers Market. Hello everybody. As promised, I'm making an update on my peppers and tomatoes right now. So the first thing I wanted to show you is the progress on my compost. And this can used to be completely full. It was full all the way to the top. It's getting there. It's sort of a dark brown. It smells very earthy. There's a lot of bugs and maggots crawling around in it, which I'm sure that's probably normal. It doesn't smell gross or anything like that. And I'm hoping soon, very soon, I can use this to make compost tea. It looks like it's almost there. And I've got a little addition to add right now from the farmer's market. I cleaned up all my vegetables, and this is all the extra stuff. So I will stir that in with my pitchfork when the time comes. And you know, eventually I'm going to try this compost tea thing, and I'll take you through that process as well. That'll be the first time I've ever done it, and this is the first time I've ever composted. So it's taking longer than I thought it would, but I can see it's going to turn out really nice. It's going to be a really good benefit. Alright, on to the plants. The plants themselves are doing very, very good. So far there's no signs of disease on the lower leaves. I keep track. I look at these bottom leaves all the time, and if I start to see yellowing, like patchy, splotchy yellowing, that's gonna tell me you got to get rid of those leaves immediately. That's how diseases start in tomatoes. But so far nothing like that. There's some cherry tomatoes here. These black cherries are just exploding, but they all are. Everything is. We had a hailstorm. We actually got some well-needed rain 2 days ago, but along with the rain came hail. And what had happened is on the tomato plants, it knocked off a lot of chunks of leaves, and the leaves went onto the soil below. And in my opinion, like I say, I'm not an expert, but in my opinion, it's important to get those chunks of leaves off the soil, because if they start breeding fungus and those spores start splashing up onto your leaves, that's going to be a big problem. And I've had that problem before, and I want to avoid it at all costs. So I took out all the broken leaves that were on the soil, and the hail damaged one of my peppers here. This is one of my purple beauties. So now there's a hole in it. Even at that small size, they're still useful, but I have to take it off the plant. I don't want to waste any energy from the plant on a broken pepper. So that's coming off. Then over here, I'm having an issue. I'm getting blossom end rot on my Anaheim chilies. And at first I thought it could be possibly sunburn, but they're always at the bottom. Several of the peppers look just like this. Those are also coming off. I'm taking off all the peppers that look like this. And like I say, if you feel like it, you can still use the other part right now if you felt like it. But they're coming off. Here's another one over here. Can you see that? This is the only plant so far that has exhibited signs of blossom end rot. And I've used bone meal. I put a lot of bone meal in there, but I'm thinking to myself, it must take a lot of time for bone meal to break down to become useful for the plant. Maybe next year I'm going to use lime or something else, because bone meal just doesn't seem to work very well. I mean, maybe eventually it does, but not in the short term. Okay, so this is what I do when I find out that I'm getting symptoms of blossom end rot. I buy a bottle of antacid tablets. This was like $3. I'm sure you can get them cheaper at the dollar store. And the ingredient that we're looking at is calcium carbonate. And I put about half a bottle in this glass, and I'm going to fill the glass probably about half full with water, let it sit for a few hours, and then when these tablets are all dissolved, I will pour them in my watering can, and I will give all my plants a good soaking with this mixture, and then about 2 weeks later I'll use the other half of the bottle, and that should cure any blossom end rot problems. It's worked in the past, and so that's a tip I have for you if you get the blossom end rot. Here's another pepper that got pelted by hail. That's got to come off too. I take off any peppers that look diseased or damaged, because that way the energy can go directly into the other peppers. It's still early enough in the season. You take that off, you'll get replacements. No worries at all there. My prize, Jamaican hot chocolate, exploding with growth. So far no peppers yet, but I have every confidence. Well, there's a little one, I guess, right there. Little guy just starting. I have every confidence that this thing will produce really big. I did a little experiment because it isn't very important for me to get a lot of peppers, a lot of these hot peppers, because I'm all stocked up. So what I did was I planted one plant here, and I had a cup with 2 plants, and instead of separating them, I just thought, you know what the hell? I'm going to put them both together. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they're able to cope with being planted so close together, and as far as I can tell, they're doing just fine. This plant being planted this close. I had a commenter on my YouTube ask me, should I start picking off the early peppers on my my Jamaican hot chocolate plant. This guy has a Jamaican hot chocolate plant, and he was wondering if he should pick off the early peppers. And I basically told him that if the plant looks healthy, and you don't have to pick those off, because those peppers are small. Small peppers are much more easily, you understand, a plant can grow small peppers and not be inconvenienced, whereas if I had a one of these plants and it was small and spindly and only had one big pepper on it, that would stunt the growth of all the other peppers. I hope that makes sense. But here's my red Marconi. For some reason I've got some peppers on this one and 0 peppers on the other one. They're yet to come. See, part of the problem we're having here over the last 2 weeks is that it's been very, very hot. And I have a feeling that the heat has been stunting these plants, and in fact, it's been affecting all my plants, even my wildflowers in here. And so we're just in the middle of a sort of a heat wave, and hopefully eventually that will pass, and then these will continue to grow nicely. Tomorrow's supposed to be 99 degrees. I have to work in a un-air conditioned shop tomorrow, so that sounds fun. Looking forward to that. Tomatoes, it's interesting. I don't have as many tomatoes as I would hope. I mean, maybe they're yet to come, who knows. I'll get to that in a second, but here's my giant Marconi doing really good. And I've had great success with giant Marconi, and I'd recommend it to anybody. Just like a bell pepper, only it's just a slightly different shape. And as I told you before, I have these Anaheims, and some are exhibiting signs of the blossom end rot, so they have to come off, but I've got plenty more. I mean, I look in here, there's many, many little ones, so taking those off isn't going to be any big deal. My Purple Beauty, I got a real big one in here, and that one didn't get damaged by hail, luckily, but I've got others. Got others in there. So far, I'm very happy with the Purple Beauty pepper. Okay, onto the tomatoes. I've got some tomatoes. But you know, I see other YouTube videos, and maybe I'm just jealous. Maybe the grass is greener on the other side of the fence or whatever. But it seems like other people get a lot more tomatoes and a lot better ones than me. Whatever, you know. It's probably just my imagination, I guess. But the plants themselves look really good. And here's a point I want to make about the plants. If you over-fertilize your tomato plants, you'll get beautiful looking plants, but very few tomatoes. And so I've basically stopped fertilizing, because to me these plants are like exploding. They look beautiful, they're nice, they're green, and I'm getting very few tomatoes. So, and I've only chemically fertilized once this whole year. And so I'm not fertilizing, and probably because of the heat I shouldn't fertilize either. I want these to produce tomatoes, not more green leaves. So I think if I hold off, it's going to help. That's my plan anyway, and anybody can also correct me on that if I'm wrong. But you know, I always try to make these, I always think these videos are going to be short, and then they end up being long. I try my best to make these things short, but you know, I've got things to say, and it just takes up that much time. Oh well, whatever. So here's my, you know, I've done this in another video, but I guess it's worth mentioning again. The blossom end rot, my solution, I showed you earlier, the antacids, the calcium carbonate. I let these soak for a couple hours inside of a glass of water here, and as you can tell, it's all dissolved now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this mixture, and this watering can still has some banana peel in it. I pour that in my watering can, and I'll rinse this glass out and continue to pour the rest of it in there. And this is, in my experience, a very good way to arrest blossom end rot. In my experience, it takes care of blossom end rot right away. So if you experience peppers that look like that, tomatoes with black spots on the bottom, oh, and so he's going to mow their lawn. I guess I'll have to wrap it up here. Well, that's it, I guess. Just in time.